Hi, good morning and thanks for tuning into the Breakfast News. It is Monday morning and we'll bring you all the biggest developments that happened during the night and also the stories that are likely to unfold in the day ahead. First up, the headlines. All villages in the country electrified. The Prime Minister makes announcement of historic achievement. Target reached 13 days ahead of the 1,000 days deadline set in August 2015. Swachh Bharat summer internship announced. Prime Minister appeals to youth to contribute at least 100 hours to the cause of rural sanitation. Also pitches for water conservation in his monthly Mann Ki Baat address. Congress's Jan Akrosh rally, a display of its dynastic politics, says BJP President Amit Shah. Rahul Gandhi targets Prime Minister over government's unfulfilled promises at the Delhi rally. Sets tone for 2019 Lok Sabha polls. Jammu and Kashmir, a cabinet reshuffle today. Kavinder Gupta to replace Nirmal Singh as a Deputy Chief Minister of the state. PDP to also induct new faces in coalition government. Swearing-in ceremony at noon. And for the first time since independence, India and Pakistan to take part in military drills as part of multi-nation counter-terror exercise. Exercise to be held in Russia in September under the Shanghai Cooperation Organization framework. Our top focus this Monday morning, all villages in the country have now access to electricity. Lesang village in Senapati district of Manipur was the last village brought on the national power grid on Saturday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced this on Twitter. He said 28th of April will be remembered as a historic day in the development journey of the nation as the government fulfilled a commitment due to which the lives of several Indians will be transformed forever. He said Lesang, like thousands of other villages across the country, has been powered and the news will make every Indian proud and delighted.
हम लोगों ने भारत के ऐसे सभी गांव जो कि विद्युतीकृत नहीं थे उनको विद्युतीकृत कर दिया और जो डेडलाइन प्रधानमंत्री ने दिया था उससे हम लोगों ने 13 दिन पहले कर दिया। आपको याद होगा कि 15 अगस्त 2015 को स्वतंत्रता दिवस के दिन प्रधानमंत्री ने ये कहा था, ये प्लेज लिया था, एक संकल्प लिया था कि 1000 दिनों के अंदर ऐसे सभी देश के ऐसे सभी गांव जहां बिजली नहीं पहुंची है, दुर्गम से दुर्गम गांव, वहां हम बिजली पहुंचा देंगे। और वो 1000 दिन पूरे होने के 13 दिन पहले हम लोग इसमें करने में सफल हुए। जो संकल्प प्रधानमंत्री ने लिया था, जो प्लेज लिया था, वो प्लेज पूरा हुआ। ये बहुत बड़ी बात है। ये दुर्गम से दुर्गम गांव थे। अरुणाचल प्रदेश, मेघालय, गांव पहुंचने में 2 दिन 3 दिन पहाड़ के ऊपर जंगलों के बीच से पहुंचना है। तार ले जा रहे हैं, आप पोल ले जा रहे हैं, घसीट के ले जा रहे हैं, टट्टू पर ले जा रहे हैं, ट्रांसफार्मर ले जा रहे हैं। ऐसे गांव उत्तराखंड में हो या ये जम्मू कश्मीर में हो जो जहां पर की बर्फ है विंटर में और वहां से आबादी नीचे आ जाती है, उसके लिए इंतजार करना पड़ा। जबकि बर्फ पिघलने लगा तो आबादी को हम लोगों ने कहा कि वापस आइए, हम आपका गांव चल करके विद्युतीकरण करेंगे। गांव में और जिलों तक ये मटेरियल पहुंचाने के लिए सेना का हेलीकॉप्टर का इस्तेमाल करना पड़ा। ऐसे सभी गांव, ऐसे गांव थे।
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged students from across the country to join the government's flagship Swachh Bharat Abhiyan for summer internship. Addressing the 43rd edition of his Mann Ki Baat radio program, he announced incentives, including credit points by the UGC for participants.
भारत सरकार के 3 मंत्रालय, स्पोर्ट्स हो, एचआरडी हो, ड्रिंकिंग वाटर का डिपार्टमेंट हो, सरकार के 3-4 मंत्रालय ने मिलकर के एक स्वच्छ भारत समर इंटर्नशिप 2018 ये लॉन्च किया है। कॉलेज के छात्र छात्राएं, एनसीसी के नौजवान, एनएसएस के नौजवान, नेहरू युवा केंद्र के नौजवान जो कुछ करना चाहते हैं समाज के लिए, देश के लिए और कुछ सीखना चाहते हैं, समाज के बदलाव में जो अपने आप को जोड़ना चाहते हैं, निमित्त बनना चाहते हैं, एक सकारात्मक ऊर्जा को लेकर के समाज में कुछ न कुछ कर गुजरने का इरादा है, उन सब के लिए अवसर है और इससे स्वच्छता को भी बल मिलेगा। और जब हम 2 अक्टूबर से महात्मा गांधी की 150वीं जयंती मनाएंगे, उसके पहले हमें कुछ करने का संतोष मिलेगा। और मैं ये भी बता दूं कि जो उत्तम से उत्तम इंटर्न्स होंगे, जो कॉलेज उत्तम काम किया होगा, विश्वविद्यालय ने किया होगा, ऐसे सबको राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर पुरस्कार दिए जाएंगे।
And the Prime Minister also hailed the performance of the Indian squad, especially women athletes in the Commonwealth Games, saying that they had made every Indian proud. He expressed happiness at the enthusiastic response to his Fit India invite. He also called yoga an inexpensive movement for Fit India.
फिट इंडिया अभियान में योग का विशेष महिमा है और आप भी तैयारी में लग गए होंगे। 21 जून अंतर्राष्ट्रीय योग दिवस का महात्मा तो अब पूरे विश्व ने स्वीकार किया है। आप भी अभी से तैयारी कीजिए। अकेले नहीं, आपका शहर, आपका गांव, आपका इलाका, आपकी स्कूल, आपकी कॉलेज, हर कोई, किसी भी उम्र का, पुरुष हो, स्त्री हो, योग से जोड़ने के लिए प्रयास करना चाहिए। संपूर्ण शारीरिक विकास के लिए, मानसिक विकास के लिए, मानसिक संतुलन के लिए योग का क्या उपयोग है अब हिंदुस्तान में और दुनिया में बताना नहीं पड़ता है।
And during his 30-minute address, the Prime Minister also made a strong pitch for water conservation. The Prime Minister said that an average of 32,000 crore rupees have been spent besides Manrega budget every year on water conservation and management.
जब हम सुनते हैं कि भविष्य में दुनिया में पानी के लेकर के युद्ध होने वाले हैं, हर कोई ये बात बोलता है, लेकिन क्या हमारी कोई जिम्मेवारी है क्या हमें नहीं लगता है कि जल संरक्षण ये सामाजिक जिम्मेवारी होनी चाहिए, हर व्यक्ति की जिम्मेवारी होनी चाहिए। बारिश की एक एक बूंद हम कैसे बचाएं, और हम में से सबको पता है कि हम भारतीय के दिल में जल संरक्षण ये कोई नया विषय नहीं है, वो किताबों का विषय नहीं है, भाषण का विषय नहीं रहा। सदियों से हमारे पूर्वजों ने इसे जी करके दिखाया है।
And a big story coming in from Jammu and Kashmir. The state cabinet will be reshuffled today. In the much-awaited reshuffle, the BJP will be bringing in some new faces. Jammu and Kashmir Governor N.N. Bora will administer the oath of office and secrecy to those being inducted into the Council of Ministers. And ahead of the reshuffle, Deputy Chief Minister Nirmal Singh attended his resignation to pave the way for State Assembly Speaker Kavindra Gupta to take over the post. BJP's State Unit Chief Sat Sharma, MLAs from Kathua and adjoining Samba, Rajiv Jasrotia and Devendra Kumar Manyal are among the BJP faces who will be inducted. PDP MLAs will also take oath as cabinet ministers, including Mohammad Khalif Band, MLA from Pulwama, and Mohammad Ashraf Mir, MLA from Sonwar. The BJP had on 17th of April asked all its 9 ministers in the PDP-BJP government to submit their resignations to enable bringing in new faces.
पार्टी का ये फैसला है कि अभी थोड़ी रोल बदलेगा। उसी के मद्देनज़र मैंने कल अपना इस्तीफा दिया है गवर्नर साहब को, और नई जो व्यवस्था बनेगी उसके मुताबिक आज शपथ होगा। संदेश है, 3 साल सरकार चली है, अच्छी सरकार चली है, नए लोग हैं, पार्टी ने सोच समझ के उनकी जो नियुक्ति की होगी और अच्छा काम करेंगे, हमें पूरा भरोसा है। जैसे पहले सरकार चलती रही थी उसी के मुताबिक आगे भी सरकार चलेगी। भूमिका तो हम कार्यकर्ता हैं, भूमिका तो बनती ही है, पार्टी बनाती है, आगे भी बनाएगी।
3 वर्ष बाद पार्टी ने एक परिवर्तन का जो काम मुझे दिया है, मैं उस पर सही प्रकार से उतर पाऊँ, ऐसा मेरा प्रयास रहेगा। पहले भी राजनीतिक क्षेत्र में काम किया है, जम्मू के महापौर के नाते भी काम किया है, पार्टी में भी विभिन्न संगठन के पदों पर काम किया है, अभी भी एक अध्यक्ष के नाते काम कर रहा था। आगे भी जम्मू कश्मीर, विशेष करके जम्मू कश्मीर और लद्दाख तीनों के लिए काम कर पाऊँ, इस प्रकार की हमारी प्राथमिकता रहेगी। देखो, जो गठबंधन बिना था, जिस प्रकार से लोगों ने हमें मैंडेट दिया था, 25 सीटें हमें जम्मू में दी गई थी, 28 पीडीपी को कश्मीर में मिली थी। इसके अलावा कोई चारा नहीं था। डेवलपमेंट के मुद्दे को लेकर के हमने ये गठबंधन बनाया था। ठीक है, कुछ अपनी विचारधारा को अलग रखते हुए, चाहे वो पीडीपी हो, चाहे भारतीय जनता पार्टी हो, लोगों के मैंडेट का हमने सम्मान किया। मुझे लगता है कि अब भी वो गठबंधन ठीक प्रकार से काम करे और लोगों के अपेक्षा पर खरा उतरे, ऐसा हमारा प्रयास रहेगा।
On to some other news. The Congress party has sounded the poll bugle for the 2019 general elections. Party President Rahul Gandhi on Sunday addressed a public rally at the Ramlila ground in the national capital, where he accused Prime Minister Narendra Modi of not delivering on the promises that he had made during the 2014 Lok Sabha elections. Rahul Gandhi attacked the central government on several issues like the Doklam standoff, farmers' debt and corruption. Congress's Jan Akrosh rally at Ramlila Maidan, outside the iconic Red Fort, seen as the party's election bugle for the 2019 Lok Sabha election. At the rally on Sunday, Congress chief Rahul Gandhi launched a strong attack on Prime Minister Narendra Modi over various issues, saying his promises remain unfulfilled. Rahul Gandhi also gave an open invitation to all to join his party.
हमारे प्रधानमंत्री एक के बाद एक भाषण करते हैं। जहां भी जाते हैं कोई ना कोई वायदा कर जाते हैं। भ्रष्टाचार की बात होगी, रोजगार की बात होगी, किसानों की बात होगी, मगर सच्चाई नहीं होगी।
Apart from party workers, the rally was attended by a battery of Congress leaders, including Sonia Gandhi, former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, present and former chief ministers and state leaders like Captain Amarinder Singh, Sheila Dikshit and Harish Rawat. Sonia Gandhi also addressed the party's rally and launched a sharp attack on the government, alleging that all sections of society were unhappy under the BJP rule. She called on people to support Congress to bring about a change.
रहने का समय आप में से हर एक को राहुल जी के साथ हम सभी को मिलकर अपनी आवाज बुलंद करनी है। जनता हमें साथ देने को तैयार है और हम हमेशा की तरह उनके प्रति संघर्ष करने के लिए तैयार हैं।
In his address, Dr. Manmohan Singh also raised the issue of unemployment in the country. With Mohammad Fateh Tipu, this is Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And the BJP has hit out at the Congress over its Jan Akrosh rally. In a series of tweets, party president Amit Shah said that it was a Parivar Akrosh rally that highlighted dynastic politics in the Congress, and saying that the Congress has been sent out of power from one state to another in elections. Amit Shah said that he hoped Rahul Gandhi will apologize to the country for attacking every institution in the country. He said that the country is tired of the Congress's negative and arm-twisting tactics. And Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad also hit out at Rahul Gandhi, saying that the rally was a display of the Congress's quest for power.
उनके भाषण को सुनने के बाद ये साफ लगता है ये जनाक्रोश रैली नहीं थी, ये कुर्सी के ख्वाब की रैली थी, ये सत्ता के लालसा की रैली थी। कुर्सी के बिना न कांग्रेस के लोग रह सकते हैं, न राहुल गांधी जी रह सकते हैं। इसलिए आज जिस तरह की बातें कही गई कि हम 2019 भी जीतेंगे, हम छत्तीसगढ़ भी जीतेंगे, हम मध्य प्रदेश भी जीतेंगे, बार बार राहुल गांधी ने कहा है। उनकी अगुवाई में उनकी पार्टी बार बार हारी है। आज एनडीए के साथ बीजेपी 21 राज्यों में शासन करती है। हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी हैं और हमारे 15 मुख्यमंत्री हैं, हमारे 8 उप मुख्यमंत्री हैं, और ये राहुल गांधी जी और कांग्रेस की कृपा से नहीं, जनता के आशीर्वाद और हमारी ईमानदार मेहनत के कारण है। फिर भी वो कह रहे हैं कि आने वाला हम सब चुनाव जीतेंगे, लोकसभा का चुनाव भी जीतेंगे 2019 में। मैं कांग्रेस पार्टी से एक बात कहूंगा बड़ी विनम्रता से, दिन में तारे देखना बंद किया जाए।
And in Breakfast News, we'll take a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay tuned.
prolific British poet and story writer Joseph Rudyard Kipling, one of the first masters of short stories in English. In 1894 appeared his Jungle Book, which became a children's classic all over the world. Kim, the story of Kimball O'Hara and his adventures in the Himalayas, is perhaps his most felicitous work published. Set in and concerned with India he had come to know and love so well. In 1907, Kipling became the first English language writer to receive the Nobel Prize for Literature.
Welcome back after the break, and let's get you all the news from poll-bound Karnataka. Here is our special report. As Mangaluru braces for the upcoming elections, the incumbent Congress is facing a big challenge to hold its tally, where it had swept all the 3 seats of the city in Dakshin Kannada. The ruling party is particularly facing questions on the issue of sand mining, which is having its impact felt in the urban as well as rural belt. Here is our report.
Mangaluru, the most cosmopolitan city of Dakshina Kannada, is these days the ground zero of election activities. Last week, Congress released its manifesto in the city. BJP bigwigs are also slated to address election rallies and meetings in the coming weeks. BJP has said development is the only agenda for the Karnataka Assembly polls.
Whatever little development we are seeing today, it is the continuation of additional funds issued during the previous regime, or funds which have come from the central government. Otherwise, per se, this government during the past 4.5 years has not done anything toward development in the city.
BJP has also alleged that Siddaramaia's flagship Bhagya scheme are burdening the state's treasury, as it has not yielded the desired results.
If you calculate it per capita of Karnataka, each and every individual today owes 50,000 bucks. So this is not a small amount. The government of Karnataka, irrespective of whatever bhagyas they have announced, it is a burden on every citizen of Karnataka, and this is just not acceptable.
The Congress is holding all the 3 assembly seats of the city. Among them is State Minister U.D. Khadir. The 2-time MLA claims that the opposition has no real issues to take on the government's record in office.
Our government feels that every individual, the poorest of the poor, and the weakest of the weakest section has got right in the asset of the state. So we have to make programs for them. See, people like these people, we have to make programs like Anna Bhagya, like their children should get milk in the school.
It's not just the issues like jobs for youth and Siddaramaiah government's Bhagya schemes. The opposition BJP is also questioning the incumbent government over the issue of sand mining, which they claim is impacting both rural and urban lives in Mangaluru and areas around it.
Who want to build their own houses, they're finding it very difficult to access the sand. The sand mafia is playing havoc here. Even a deputy commissioner of a district was attacked by the goons of sand mafia.
Though the NGT has banned sand mining in the city, Shashidhar Shetty, a local ceramic businessman and environment activist who had moved NGT demanding ban, claims rules are flouted even today. The government too admits that the issue of sand mining has not been entirely resolved.
रिवर जो है पूरा अभी खराब हो रहा है कि रिवर का बेसिन भी रिवर का जो बेसिन कहते हैं वो भी खराब हो गया और जो एनजीटी का लॉ है पूरा ओवरलोड करके ये लोग कम से कम 14 करोड़ रुपीस का सैंड लूट किया है अभी हमारा पीने का पानी भी सॉल्ट हो रहा है इधर
Problem has to solve, and the CRZ problem and this non-CRZ problem, these are not only on the state, it's on the center also. CRZ, the policy to change the CRZ code of rules also is been recommended by the government.
The activists, however, blame both the state government and the centre for continuing apathy towards the natural resources. Rajat Kane's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
On to some other news now. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu inaugurated the new campus of the Central University of Kerala in Kasaragod on Sunday. And after inauguration, the Vice President said that in order to make India a leading nation in the field of education and innovation, every academic organization must work in a mission mode to revamp the educational infrastructure in tune with the requirements of the 21st century. He further said that the higher education system should expand qualitatively and quantitatively for the betterment of the nation and society. The Vice President also expressed hope that in future, various courses including science and technology will be taught in respective local languages in various states.
Sisters and brothers, education lays foundation for the progress of a nation. Higher education, in particular, plays an important role in building a knowledge-based society of the 21st century. All the higher education institutions, including central universities, have a onerous responsibility in transforming the country into an epicenter of the knowledge and innovation. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he has given a three-line advice to all of us. He said, reform, perform, and transform. Transform the nation.
And President Ramnath Kovind addressed a convention of labourers from the unorganised sector in Guna district of Madhya Pradesh on Sunday. And while addressing the event, he emphasised on providing a social security to the labourers belonging to the unorganised sector. He said that no society can progress without being mindful of the welfare of the working class, the deprived and underprivileged sections. Kovind also mentioned that most of the workers of the unorganised sector are engaged in agriculture and construction. And on to the other top story of the day. The Home Ministry, for the first time, has allowed the CRPF to directly utilize centrally sponsored security-related expenditure funds for building infrastructure facilities for its troops. The move approved by the centre will better equip the CRPF for operations in left-wing extremism-affected areas and in the Kashmir Valley. The Home Ministry has also sought the approval from respective states to whom this money is being made available. The SRE scheme is granted by the Union Government to the left-wing extremism-hit and insurgency-affected states of the country for the purpose of a reimbursement of a security-related expenditure like transportation, communication, hiring of vehicles, stipend to surrendered Maoists, construction of infrastructure for the forces, among others. And Indian and Pakistani military will take part in a joint military exercise for the first time. Now, this exercise is being held in Russia in the month of September and is a multi-nation counter-terror exercise being held under the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or the SCO. Now, it will be for the first time since independence that India and Pakistan will both be the part of a military exercise, though the armies of the two nations have worked together in the UN peacekeeping missions. The drill will be held in the Ural Mountains and almost all the SCO member countries will be taking part in it. While the main aim of the exercise, termed as the Peace Mission, will be to enhance counter-terror cooperation among the 8 SCO member countries. India's participation in the exercise was confirmed by Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman during the SCO Defence Ministers meeting in Beijing last week. Let's get you all the international news now. Britain's Home Secretary Amber Rudd has resigned, finally bowing to more than 2 weeks of pressure over her handling of the immigration policy. Prime Minister Theresa May's government has been facing criticism for its treatment of some long-term Caribbean residents who were wrongly labelled as illegal immigrants. The government has been struggling to explain why some descendants of the so-called Windrush generation, who were invited to Britain to plug the labour shortfalls between 1948 and 1971, had been labelled as illegal immigrants. The Windrush scandal has raised questions about Theresa May's 6-year stint as the Interior Minister before she became the Prime Minister. Rudd was under pressure to resign after she gave contradictory statements about meeting targets for deputations. And Rudd's resignation was reluctantly accepted by Theresa May on Sunday night. And in an exchange of letters, May said that she was very sorry to see Rudd go. And North Korean leader Kim Jong-un plans to invite experts and journalists from the US and South Korea when the country shuts its nuclear test site in the month of May. Now, this was announced by Seoul as US President Donald Trump pressed for total denuclearization of North Korea ahead of his unprecedented meeting with Kim. During a phone call late on Saturday, US President Donald Trump told his South Korean counterpart Moon Jae-in that the two Koreas' reaffirmation of the goal of complete denuclearization was good news for the world. The two leaders also agreed on the need for an early summit between Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, which Donald Trump said would take place over the next 2 to 3 weeks. And on Friday, Kim and South Korean President Moon Jae-in also vowed complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula in the first inter-Korean summit in more than a decade. But the declaration did not include any concrete steps really to reach that goal.
북미 정상회담에서도 매우 좋은 성과가 있을 것이라는 기대를 나타냈습니다. 북일 국교 정상화를 바라고 있다는 점을 전달했다고 아베 총리에게 말했습니다. 김정은 국무위원장도 북한이 언제든지 일본과 대화할 용의가 있음을 밝혔다고.
And back home, the portals of Badrinath Shrine in Uttarakhand were open to devotees early this morning today. The shrine was closed for winters on 20th of November last year. Special arrangements have been made for the smooth Char Dham Yatra in the state. Medical and disaster management teams have been deployed at various points along the Yatra route in aid of pilgrims. State government has also set up a hyperbaric oxygen chamber for the urgent treatment of heart patients who are vulnerable to breathing problems in high altitude areas. And on Sunday, the holy shrine of Kedarnath was thrown open to pilgrims after the 6-month winter break. And with that, we come to an end of this edition of Breakfast News. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day ahead.